The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Hey, welcome back. Another hot episode of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh. I got my man Ant Petty Murphy in the building. What's good with you, my boy?
What's up with him? What up with him, man?
Hey. I'll just say this. No Christmas shopping streets ain't for the faint at heart. You got to be strong out there in these I don't even know what to call it. It's a madhouse out there. It ain't as bad as it has been in the past. But I think I said for this season, this year, I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to be done shopping for Christmas by October next year. I'm going to have to start early because it's wild. Everything else going to be online. I ain't going out. I ain't buying nothing but groceries during Christmas from now on. And I'm going to get them delivered.
I don't go out, bro. If I can't get it online, it ain't meant for me to get.
Hey, I'm just listening. Hey, my kids gonna have to get used to hearing these famous words. Check your tracking list. Check your tracking. It'll be here on the 26th. Cause man, listen, it's wild out there. But man, we had some. I'm gonna say good football this weekend. I know a lot of people don't necessarily agree with that. I enjoyed not just college football playoffs, but some of the rest of the bowl games. In the NFL games yesterday, they were a lot, a lot more competitive and stuff. We starting to get down to the end, and then the way things shaping up, the NFC might not be determined until week 18. The NFC, the number one seed, so definitely looking forward to that. But we got a good one tonight, man. Talking about, like I said, first round of playoffs. I did a little research, man. Told you about it earlier, but I did a little research, and I think people are overreacting, or they got real short-term memory when it comes to their disdain for competitiveness. So, but first, man, you know what we got to do. We got to give a shout out to our sponsors. BetOnline.ag. We will be back in 1 minute.
BetOnline.ag is your number one source for all your sports information, stats, news, and scores. Get the latest odds, lines, and player injury reports for this year's NBA and NHL playoffs. BetOnline is always your sports information headquarters. This season, we have you covered for all your sports wagering needs. We have everything from NBA, NFL, MLB, and NHL to golf, tennis, UFC, and boxing. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting info, including live betting options and your favorite casino and card games that you can play right from your home. Head on over to betonline.ag today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Be sure to use the promo code BLEAV to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts.
And we are back. What up, Josh? Hey, no matter how you spell it, man, I know who you're talking to. He put the next message. My bad. We know what it is. As always, man, want to tell everybody thank you for tuning in. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us. We appreciate that. Do us a favor, subscribe, like, share, spread the word, man. We're trying to make sure we get to this magical 1,000 and go from there, man. We got big plans in 2025, and it starts now. But man, let's go ahead and get to it, man. Your initial reaction to the college football first round, and I'm gonna ask. I'm not even gonna talk about the games first individually. I'm gonna ask as far as like the atmospheres and how it's set up, the on-campus games.
Yeah, I like the on campus aspect of it. Pretty much every game was a great atmosphere, energy wise. It was good. Like the Ohio State game, seeing Tennessee bring a whole bunch of fans. You know what I mean? It just made the atmosphere and the game day feel like it felt like a big game. You know, it felt like a mega matchup through the TV as far as the atmosphere and the crowd and everything. I like the fact that they did it that way. Um, and honestly, I think the second round should be at home also, but that we'll talk about that later maybe. But I think it definitely made for a good environment for the first round of playoffs, and that's kind of what I envisioned whenever they announced that they'd be at home.
Mm-hmm.
But I think my mic messed up. But
Nah, I hear you good. You good on my end.
but yeah, that's kind of what I envisioned whenever they said there was gonna be the first round was gonna be at home. I envisioned atmospheres like that, so it was lived up to what I thought it was gonna be, and maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, I completely agree. Seeing in Indiana show up and they're saying their fans in Purdue. I'm not sorry, Purdue and Notre Dame. Knowing that's a in-state, I don't know if you say rivalry. I know it is in basketball. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
don't like to.
Yeah, saying that's a in-state battle. Um, then the Tennessee, like you said, Tennessee, Ohio State. I honestly think it may have been more Tennessee fans there than Ohio State. If it wasn't, it was 60-40. It was close. Texas Clemson as well, man. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't see the Penn State SMU game. Um, so I don't know
And that
what
thing
that
was rocking, bro.
yeah, so I missed that one, but it was just when I think about bowl games in general and how they used to be, you know what I'm saying? Everybody kind of showing up for these matchups you don't see often. This is what I think of. So I do think this first round of playoffs at least brought that intensity back. Um, uh, at least that hype back. I should say. I shouldn't say intensity, but man, now man, because this was a point of contention for a lot of people. The actual games, man, the round one matchups. Or the first round matchups. A lot of people didn't. They felt like certain teams shouldn't be in, and this proves, and saying back to the same old arguments, man. But your thoughts on this actual how the teams lined up and matched up?
I pretty much went how I thought it would go. Ohio State was more dominant than I thought they would be. Um, and when Tennessee lost Dylan Sampson, that changed what they were able to do offensively. So I kind of was a little surprised by that, just by how easy Ohio State made it look.
Yeah.
But other than that, no surprises here. That's everything went about how I planned it. I mean, how I expected it to go.
Yeah. Um, the I'm with you. I thought Indiana would be a little bit more competitive. Um, and by that, by competitive, I just thought they would at least put, saying, a couple more points on the board. They did score late in the game, uh, which I mean, by that point, it didn't matter, um, other than to I guess mess up some people's um, bets as far as that. Um, but it was just Notre Dame came and it was belt to ass the entire game. Same with Penn State.
Hmm.
Ohio State, I expected them to start fast or at least jump out on Tennessee because Tennessee starts slow the entire season. But Tennessee just never started. And that in itself was just that was what was disappointing to me. Uh, the Texas Clemson game, I know what the score was, but that game was a lot closer as far as Texas, saying outscored them, handily, but it wasn't to the point to where it was like that game was just complete, saying utter dominance on, saying on Texas side. Uh, but that game went kind of high expected as well. But I know, like I said, a lot of people have talked about uh, who deserves to be in these games, and this team shouldn't have been in it, and everything. Me personally, um, I think the best way I can put it, I don't think the 12 best teams were necessarily in the playoffs, but the 12 deserving teams, based on the parameters set up, the teams that were supposed to be in there were in there.
I think they got the right 12 teams.
Yeah.
My issue is with the way they seeded them for the bracket. In my opinion, winning your conference should get you an automatic bid to the playoffs, but shouldn't get you an automatic top four seed. I mean, if you look at basketball, baseball, you win your conference, you're guaranteed a spot, but you're not guaranteed any specific seed. Um, I think the same should be said for football. And if you look at what the top four rankings would be this year, you'd have Oregon number one, Georgia number two, Texas number three, uh, is it Penn State number four? So that would be the first four buys, in my opinion, or should be the first four buys, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would have did this year's bracket that way, you would have had a lot more competitive first round matchups, or what I believe would be more competitive first round matchups. You would have had Clemson versus Notre Dame, Boise State versus Indiana, Arizona State versus Ohio State, and SMU versus Tennessee. I feel like you have more likelihood of those games being closer, more competitive games than what we saw this first round. And part of the reason why I believe that's the case is if you base it off the top 25 rankings, two of the teams who played in the first weekend are two of the top four teams in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like they shouldn't be playing in the first weekend. They should have a bye in theory. But instead they out here playing in the first weekend. So of course the teams that they play, like the number 12 seed Clemson, it's going. I mean, Clemson technically playing the number three team in the country, and Clemson ain't the number 12 team in the country. They like 15 or
Right.
16. So of course, it's going to be kind of a lopsided game. So I just think that if they would have seeded it differently, we could have had more competitive games.
ironically, that was probably the closest matchup that we had this weekend.
Yeah.
But yeah, I completely agree. But the notion that these teams shouldn't have been in or whatever, and these, it's just a blowout fest. I want to go back because, like I said, I did some research, so I want to take people down memory lane and talk about some of the blowouts we've had since the BCS, so 1998, all the way through. And I'm not going to talk about each bowl game, but I'm just strictly talking BCS, the New Year's Six, and the college football playoffs. Start with 1998. And the way I define a blowout, and because I had to set parameters, I define a blowout as 21 points or more, 3 possessions. I could have stayed with 17, but I say, you know what? I'm gonna go 3 full touchdowns. Here's your list. In 1998, Florida beat Syracuse 31-10. In 2000, Oregon State beat Notre Dame 41-9. In 2001, Miami beat Nebraska 37-14. In 2002, USC beat Iowa 38-17. 2004, Utah beat Pitt 35-7, and USC beat Oklahoma 55-19. 2005, LSU beat Miami 40-3. 2006, LSU beat Notre Dame 41-14. Florida beat Ohio State 41-14. That was a championship game too. So, in 2007, Georgia beat Hawaii 41-10. USC beat Illinois 49-17. 2009, Florida beat Cincinnati 51-24. 2010, Oklahoma 48, UConn 20. I remember that. Stanford 40, Virginia Tech 14. This was the one that a lot of people talked about. West Virginia beat Clemson 70-33.
I remember that.
I repeat, 70-33. 2011, of course, we got the Alabama 21-0 beating of LSU. 2012, Alabama beat Notre Dame 42-14. 2014, TCU beat Ole Miss 42-3. Ohio State beat Oregon 42-20. And Oregon had previously beat Florida State 59-20, what I thought was interesting because those were back-to-back rounds. Oregon beat Florida State, was a undefeated national champion, defending national champion. They beat them by 39. And then they went to the championship game and lost to Ohio State by 22, who was on their third-string quarterback.
Ezekiel ran all over them boys.
Yes, sir. In 2015, Alabama beat Michigan State 38-0. Ole Miss beat Oklahoma State 47-20. Stanford beat Iowa 45-16. 2016, Clemson beat Ohio State 31-0. In 2018, Clemson beat Notre Dame 30-3. Clemson beat Alabama 44-16, and Florida beat Michigan 41-15. 2019, I know we all remember this one. LSU beat Oklahoma 63-28. And because I set the parameter at 21-0, I could have put that championship game if I had to say it's just 3 possessions because the LSU beat Clemson by 17 in championship game. But like I said, I said it for a reason. 2020, Ohio State beat Clemson 49-28. Alabama beat Ohio State 52-24. In 2021, Alabama beat Cincinnati 27-6. Georgia beat Michigan 34-11. Yeah. In 2022, Georgia beat TCU 65-7, and Alabama beat Kansas State 45-20. 2023, just last year, Georgia beat Florida State 63-3. Oregon beat Liberty 45-6. Michigan beat Washington in the national championship 34-13. There are a lot of those again what I classified as blowouts being 21 points or more. That's not even, and I said New Year's 6, but the BCS didn't technically have a New Year's 6.
Right.
They did have the Cotton Bowl, they did have the Peach Bowl, and saying the Rose Bowl and some of those other games, but and all those those blowouts aren't big names. I mean, they aren't the non-traditional blue bloods that we talk about. But now a lot of people are complaining about the traditional blue bloods going up against teams that have found semblance of football or discover football, and people are upset because these teams are losing. But it's not.
That just means people gonna be upset either way it go.
Yeah, styles make matchups.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, not to mention in what 2 of the games you had teams from the South going to the North to play in the cold. That matters. And one of the games you had a team in SMU that's probably played in front of 60, 70,000 people at most this year. Then you're going to play in front of 102,000 in Happy Valley. The quarterback literally covering his ears out there like this.
Mm-hmm.
And every time he did that, the crowd just got louder, So, I mean, I think that played a factor in that game. I think also, I mean, the Big Ten got some big boys who run football. And I think that's what you saw the difference being in the game against SMU, man. They just dominated in the trenches. And the Ohio State game, Tennessee secondary got exposed a little bit, man. They Jeremiah Smith is an animal. That kid he different, man. But and I think Will Howard probably played the best game he's played as a collegiate quarterback. I mean, that was the game they needed from him at the time they needed it. So he shut some people up with that performance. But I mean, that's the Ohio State that people thought that they could be this year with all the talent that they went out and acquired and assembled to put this team together. That's what everybody thought that we would see week in and week out from this team. So when they playing like that, they can beat anybody in the country, man. And then I think the Notre Dame game just came down to Notre Dame being able to run the football on Indiana like we saw Michigan and Ohio State be able to do, and then Notre Dame having the athletes on defense to kind of contain Indiana's offense.
Yeah. We look at this season. You look at a team in Ohio State that lost to Oregon and then lost to a 7-5 Michigan team.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Notre Dame that lost to Northern Illinois, who for the rest of the season, if I'm not mistaken, went 5-5 after that. After that loss, and then when it didn't even win their conference, you had Georgia, who lost to Ole Miss, lost to Alabama, strode against Georgia Tech, Alabama, who lost to Vanderbilt, lost to Oklahoma, lost to Tennessee, who lost to Arkansas. So the parity was there. Now we're seeing, it's not so much of just because the team is getting beat, by, I guess, 21 or more. it's not necessarily that they're a bad team. They just ran into one a matchup they couldn't handle, and two, you got injuries and everything going on right about now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's late in the season, so that's why games are played. But hey, it is what it is, man. But man, we do have some good quarterfinal matchups though. And you mentioned it, so I do want to preview some of those, or at least not break them down, but just announce those matchups. You got Ohio State taking on Oregon in that rematch. You got Arizona State taking on Texas, Notre Dame taking on Georgia, and Boise State taking on Penn State. So, and we'll talk more about these at a later date, getting breakdowns and stuff. But initial thoughts.
But I don't like boys in Arizona State getting biased, man. I don't.
And that's fair.
It is what it is, though. But I mean,
yeah. You mentioned earlier about wishing the second round could be home at neutral, not necessarily neutral site, but at a home stadium. I honestly feel like the first round should probably be neutral. I mean, be the neutral sites, and the second round, the teams who get the bye should probably get the home field advantage. But the problem is those bowl games traditionally being around New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, they're not going to want to move those games. So I understand that. So, but that's just how I look at it. But any other news or anything else we want on the playoffs before we move on?
nah.
All right. That's an incomplete pass. All right. What up, Chris? Chris Lomax drops in and he says, any more portal news?
I'm just waiting on that safety and that other offensive lineman. They came both positions. Had guys come in for visits, and now we do the waiting game to wait and see what's going on. I don't know. I saw that the safety is down to like three teams. Um, Vanderbilt, Colorado, and LSU. Yeah. So we'll see. I ain't heard nothing else about the offensive tackle. So uh, I hold my breath and wait on that one. But I mean, it's about the time where we kind of done got everybody that we probably gonna get, except for maybe one or two more guys at safety, or one or two more guys on offensive line. So I don't think you're gonna be hearing much more news uh, until we hear about those guys that came on visits last week.
Yeah. I know the LSU is waiting on additional news about returning player or player. Um, I've got high hopes that and I'll go ahead and say it because I'm not gonna beat around. I got hopes that Harold Perkins, I can see a path for him coming back and improving his skill set and everything. I can also see him leaving. I think it's probably more beneficial for him to come back. But one thing I'm not going to do is try to broadcast it or put it out there before he does.
Yeah,
And that's for all the kids, man. I'd rather them, put that news out there or share it and stuff. Unless they directly come to us and say, hey, can y'all put this out for me? Do a graphic or something. I get that. But yeah, best of luck and wishes for them. So, but I think we're in a good spot. Golly, my knee is killing me. Next up, man. NFL news. I know right now the Saints are taking on Green Bay, and Saints playing Green Bay. I ain't gonna say taking on. It's a patchwork team right now. Just about everybody's out. Marquise Valdez-Scantling was scratched right before the game. Spencer Rattler's out there playing. Alvin Kamara's out. Which, by the way, I gotta check his season stats. If I'm not mistaken, Kamara might be close to hitting that 1,000 yards rushing. Yeah, he had 950, which is crazy because I always think back to Chris' argument that Kamara never had, had 1,000 yards rushing. And here he is 50 yards away from it, but now he's banged up.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and I wonder if the Saints was playing for something, would he play?
That's a good question, too. That's a real good question.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing against Rizzy. Saints don't do that, though. Don't do that. Nothing against it. He's been great at motivating the team, giving them the fight and everything, but don't do that.
You don't want Antonio Pierce this thing?
No. It's just not. It's not. No. That'll be lazy. Extremely lazy.
I agree.
My thing is, if you don't pick him, does that guarantee you lose him?
Probably not. I don't know. That's a good question too.
Yeah.
He might want to stay.
Yeah. I got another question for you. Is the Offensive Rookie of the Year race over?
Over? I don't know. I think Jaden got a good lead, but
because I think the argument is that the two is I'm not gonna say it's a 2-man race, but the two leading guys were Jaden and Bo Nix.
nah, not in my opinion.
Who you got?
Jaden and Brock Bowers.
Interesting.
I mean, he tied for second in the league in receptions, and he top 10 in receiving yards, leading all tight ends.
Yeah. But because of who he plays for in their record, he's probably.
I mean,
yeah, I get it. I'm just saying.
I don't think the record matters as much for a tight end as it does for a quarterback.
That's fair. That's fair. I know a lot of people were saying Bo Nix, and they were saying if Bo Nix makes the playoffs or if the Broncos make the playoffs and the Commanders didn't, that it may be over. Jaden had his second fourth quarter comeback win yesterday, and honestly, it should have been his third if not for a missed field goal and complete this debauchery against the Cowboys a couple of weeks ago. But what
Jaden numbers better than Nick's. It's barely, but they're better than Nick's.
Yeah. I'm just saying it's. But I mean, Yeah, I don't think it's over, but I think he's making a compelling case. It's hard to pick against him right now.
Oh no, I agree. I think he's definitely the favorite, but I'm not just gonna say it's over.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Now NFL MVP race with.
I don't think that's over either.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I know that's definitely not over, but with the struggles yesterday of Josh Allen, I think they just put that race back up for grabs.
I just don't know if they're gonna give it to Lamar again. Even though his number's better than Josh Allen's. I don't know if they're gonna give it to him. And I think Saquon having a bad game the other day hurt him too. I mean, I know he balled out this past weekend, but um the weekend before he didn't really do too much.
Yeah.
And his numbers kind of get hurt by the fact that they do so many quarterback sneaks. And he
Oh
should
yeah, the court touchdowns and stuff. Yeah,
probably have about 8 more touchdowns than he does.
yeah. Leads to league. I'm just put this out there. Leads the league in passing yards. Leads them in passing touchdowns. Third in QBR, but his team is 7-8.
That's why he ain't gonna get it.
Yeah, Joe Burrow, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Burrow, MVP caliber season, but the defense has let them down.
I mean, we have seen that with Drew Brees how many times?
Yeah. Not just that. I can't even fully blame the defense. They had 3 chances to beat the Ravens in the first meeting, and the kicker missed 3 kicks.
Yeah.
That would have won the game or yeah, sealed it. So
That's life as a Saints fan, bro.
yeah.
I was Drew Brees for a long time.
Yeah. Michael Penix got the start yesterday. They got the big win. He was helped out a lot by the defense as far as they, them helping secure a lead and stuff. But your thoughts on his first game as the starter?
I ain't watch it.
Oh, okay. I think the strategy of how Atlanta did it, everybody could, thought they were crazy for drafting him that high.
They were.
And then brought him along later on, and
The only reason this worked is the only reason it don't look like a bad move now is because the other move they made looks like a bad move. Either way it go, y'all made a bad move.
Yeah. Jeez. All right, man. You got any other news, NBA? Anything else we want to talk about? WNBA?
The Wings hired a coach, but I forgot his name. But yeah, I ain't got nothing, man. About to go watch the Grinch.
I know that's right. Hey,
Grinch.
All right. Before we get ready to go, man, get ready to get up out of here. I was gonna open up the phone lines, but I think everybody.
Yeah, you can.
I don't know if no. I was gonna say I don't know if anybody. What you call it?
Our normal callers are watching tonight.
Yeah. I'll throw it up there just in case. Phone lines are open. The phone number is right there, 225-308-1234. But let me ask this, man. What is a favorite Christmas memory or tradition for the Petty household?
We don't really got no traditions. necessarily. Oh, that's a good one. Christmas memory. So my favorite Christmas memory, I was probably like 9 years old, something like that. And my mama had handed me this big old gift bag. I'm talking about probably about, real big gift bag. I take the little tissues and stuff out the top of it or whatever, and it's a whole bunch of paper towels, rolls of paper towels.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just start pulling the paper towel, and it's like 3 stacks of paper towels on top of each other. And I'm like, man, and so I'm just throwing paper towels, getting all mad. And my mom like, "See, that's your problem. You don't look hard enough." Man, at the bottom of under all them paper towels was like 7, 8 PlayStation games, dog.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
and my mama bring that up like every Christmas or whatever. You know what I'm saying? She's like, "You
Yeah.
remember that time you got mad for no reason?" And now that kind of stuff. But yeah, I still remember that one to this day, dog. I'm talking about it was so many paper towels, dog. I'm just sitting there just throwing paper towels for about 3 minutes. Mad. Then at the bottom of it was a whole bunch of PlayStation games.
That's crazy. Man, my I've got one as an adult and as a kid. So as a kid, man, one of my favorite Christmas memories, man, Rev got me. We had went out, the Dion's had just came out. And the only ones we could find were red and white. And they didn't have my size, they had a size bigger. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, let's get them. I stuffed tissue in the toe. See, the kids don't understand about that.
Facts.
So they don't understand. So I put tissue in the toe and I won, I was gonna win. But here's the thing about it, cuz I got it, and he was like, he had to work Christmas. So he was like, I'm gonna take you back home. But he said, I'm gonna wrap your shoes up so it'd be like a real Christmas gift. I said, okay. So I gave him the box and stuff, and he wrapped it up and gave it back to me. And I put it under the tree and I opened it. And when I opened it, the video game Killer Instinct was in there. I was like, I didn't pay this any attention before. These shoes come with a video game. and so somebody was like, fool, your daddy just got you. That's the game you've been asking for. I said, he got it for you and put it in the box of the shoes. Cause I knew he got the shoes, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so I called him at work and told him thank you. I was like, that was the best surprise. So that was as a child. So as an adult, man, 2011. I left for deployment in April. Well, I was expected to be there all the way through. I think I was supposed to be there until the following April. But they had already announced the drawdown in Iraq was going to be coming back, and everything. So they sent out President Obama at the time announced that all troops will be home by Christmas. You know, and this was like late November, so we were like, okay, yeah, whatever. You know, beginning of December, started coming out. Hey, we're going home. Like, okay, but as it started getting closer to Christmas, it didn't look like we was going home. We finally got orders, and we flew from Iraq to Kuwait on Black Hawks. Well, I flew on the Black Hawk. Everybody else, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, they flew the plane. I flew on the Black Hawk because I had to stay back because I had to shut down networks and all kind of stuff. I had to do all kind of stuff. So we flew back. This was like December like 17th, something like that, 18th, something like that. So we're in Kuwait, and it's still we like, hey, are we gonna be home by Christmas? Everybody don't know. And so it was one dude, we just kept seeing him walking around on the cell phone, just kept, you know what I'm saying, had, you know what I'm saying, cell phone calling different people. The whole time he been working. some of my other, people had left and, made it back home. We finally got the word we're going to be leaving on December 21st, flying back. So December 21st, we flew back, started flying back. We finally made it to Bangor, Maine. It was like 2 a.m, something like that, back in America. Call my, call my peoples, call my mama, call my dad, and let them know, hey, I'm back in America. I don't know if I'll be home, but just want to let you know I'm back stateside, so at least you ain't got to worry about that. Man, we got back on the plane, flew to Texas. We had to do like 2 or 3 days of like the whole like all the paperwork stuff you have to do when you come back in, like all your, hey, do you need counseling? Do you need this? And all this kind of stuff, what do you have this and all that? So we did all this paperwork and stuff for, like sun up to sundown for 2 days straight. Christmas morning, they had 2 buses. One bus was going to Mobile, one bus was going to Montgomery. I was, I was living in Montgomery at the time, but all my family was in Mobile. So I was like, hey, can I just ride the Mobile bus? They was like, sure, no problem. Man, we got on the bus. It was, as a matter of fact, that was the year of the NBA strike. And that's when they started the NBA on Christmas Day that year. So we got on the bus at like 7 that morning. And we had the buses like 12 hours, 12, 13 hours. I got to Mobile at 10 at night. My best friend picked me up, and we went to Rev house first. And he called Rev, and he was like, hey, he said, hey, can I come back? And he said, I want to come back and get some more of that food if you don't mind. He said, I know it's late, but I'll come. Yeah, come on. Knocked on the door, opened the door, and I walk in. And as I walk in, he's surprised, but as I walk in, they showing on the news us coming back. So, so he was inside, I sat with him for about 20, 30 minutes. Then I left and went to my mama's house. And I got to the house, I'm knocking on the door, she ain't answer. I called her, said, hey, what you doing? She said, nothing. She said, nah, I was laying down. I said, what you doing? I said, I'm at your door. I just hear her screaming all the way through the house. And she ran to the front. And she let me in, man. Then the next day, she calls Caleb. Calls Caleb's mom and tell her to bring him over. Said she got a gift for him. And he was 4 at the time. She said, hey, what you say you wanted for Christmas? He said, I just want my dad back. And I came around the corner. Man, that's like, that dude hugged me so hard, man. So that was like ever since then, it's like that all them videos of people coming home for Christmas, soldiers come home. I immediately started crying. Immediately. So yeah, that's my favorite Christmas memories. Other than that, man, get ready to watch A Christmas Story about 30 times because it come on every, so they play it on repeat on TNT and TBS. So I'm gonna watch that, get some, get some good cooking, and let the kids open their stuff, man. That's about it.
Yep. Same here, they dog.
Yeah. Now we got football on Christmas, which I don't care for. Either one of those matchups, I don't care for real.
I don't even know who play.
I'm gonna tell you, it's like Houston, Kansas City. No, I'm lying. That's the wrong one. That is the wrong one. Hold on. That was this past week. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, and then Baltimore, Houston. I mean, it's decent matchups, but I don't care for them.
Not too bad.
Yeah. The Thursday night game, Seattle at Chicago.
Nah.
Yeah. Oh man. Let's go ahead and get ready to get up out of here. All right, man. We will hold on. Let me pull up the calendar because I know we had told the people. Don't expect any more shows for the rest of this week because, of course, we got Christmas on Wednesday. Won't do one on Thursday. Maybe on Monday, Sunday or Monday. Do the preview for the bowl game for the LSU Baylor matchup. Yeah. As a matter of fact, we do it on Monday. That's the day before the game. And then if we do it on Wednesday, that's the day, which is the New Year's Day. That's the day after the game. We'll see. We'll make something happen. Man, that's all I got, man.
Yeah, that's all I got too, big dog. I'm finna go finish watching the Saints get whooped.
Yeah. Man, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Matter of fact, next episode, dog, that's number 200. Episode 200. We might do something slightly special with it.
Should have did it on New Year's Eve so we could pop fireworks.
Mike can make some work. But man, that's all I got. Want to thank everybody for tuning in. Let me get the theme music going. Named head coach at Norfolk State. He was excited about it. Everybody in that area in the 757 is excited about it. Definitely looking forward to that. But again, thank you everybody for tuning in. Merry Christmas. And like that, we out.
This show was presented by betonline.ag.
Bring me my money.
You can find the Golden Boot Podcast on YouTube at Golden Boot. On Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On Facebook at the Golden Boot Pod. On TikTok at Golden Boot. Or listen on all streaming platforms.